movies are not theme park rides, but I love theme park rides. And there's something kind of great about like, when you get to have these like unique experiences and, each one has its own kind of style and personality. And, I love that.
Michael, how are you, sir?
I am doing great. Great to see you, Joe.
Great to see you too. Listen, it's always a pleasure watching The Nun 2, especially on Halloween when I watched it last night. Fantastic film, man. Just as good as the first time I saw it. Before this film started production, though, did you have any conversations with James Wan on how to kind of like connect The Nun 2 to the larger Conjuring universe?
It was a discussion that we had through all of prep and also with just New Line. And, they're always very smart and careful about how they're, revealing and connecting the movies. And I think one of the things that it was in the original script, it was the connection, that Irene Lorraine connection was it was more of an Easter egg. It was really Akela wrote as an Easter egg. And I was the one who was like, I think we need to like hit this on the head. I think that, fans really deserve more, because there's an Easter egg in the first Nun that connects her to Irene, but it's super subtle. Like you can find it online, but I was like, we need to really announce it. And then I was, we talked about different ways of doing it. And, I kind of started bringing up the idea of, telling, more of her mother's story. Because that was another thread that I really loved in the first movie. Is it's like a throwaway line about her dad thought her mom was crazy. And I just thought that I think there's something more there. I think we can make that into something more and just, tell the story of family. And so I was kind of like pulling at those threads, and I think everybody really liked that idea. So then we were just like, let's put it in the movie. So
I think you and Akela Cooper are such a great team. She's a fantastic writer. What were some of the things that jumped out about her script when you first read it?
Great personality. It really brought, when you're I think with period pieces, there's always a barrier to some degree that, these are, people from another time, and where are the cell phones, and, how do you like look this up on the internet? And I think Akela really made the characters feel real and vivid, and they just felt modern in the best way possible, and timeless at the same time. And I just thought that I loved all the things that she had done with Irene. I think not Storm. I'm sorry. Sister Deborah's introduction was awesome, and she really added so much to the film, and then just the continuation of the relationship between Jonas and so there was already so much there. I think that was one thing that because when I first got it, I was skeptical of even taking the movie. I was wondering, like, how many Conjuring movies am I gonna do? Is this like, do I just keep on doing Conjuring movies? But when I read her script, I was like, this is great. It was scary. It had great characters. It took the story further, and so I was really I don't know. I was blown away. I really got sucked in.
And yes, Michael, please keep doing Conjuring movies. I love the universe, so please keep making more of them. Look, I almost forgot how hard that first scene hits when it opens. Oh my God, that is intense. Talk to me about that opening sequence. Was that always in the plans to go that hard as soon as the film opens?
Yeah, I wanted to start with a bang. I think that was one thing that I really enjoyed in Conjuring 3, and especially when you see it with the audience, it's like opening with the exorcism, because it really takes people off guard, and you expect that at the end of the movie, and you expect, okay, I got to wait for like an hour and a half to like finally get to the exorcism, and so I really enjoyed doing that, and I just thought I got to keep that going to some degree, where the cold open needs to really grab you, and also just show that Valak is back. There needs to be an announcement that this isn't going to be kind of creepy. She's going to just be like knocking on doors and creaky windows. It's like she's back with a vengeance. And so that was always the goal. It took different shapes as we were developing the movie. Like there was originally, it was actually set outside. It started in the church, but then it actually took the boy and the priest out to the docks. And we had a whole sequence on the docks. And then as we got into it, it was a very similar sequence, but as we got into it, it got really brutal to try and find a dock, and then we're going to have to build a dock, and then, it's going to have to be on set, and then we're going to have to flood the set and to make the water. it got more and more complicated. So I finally was like, what if we just keep it in the church? And so that was almost better. And it was like more blasphemous. And
Right.
we, it was even something, it became very hard to find a church to do that in. That was something that we had to find a decommissioned Catholic church, because that would not have flown with any church.
I mean, a priest busts into flames in a church. I mean, I could see how that could be an issue. Now, I know that you and Akela are big fans of Ridley Scott. And I've read that there's some Ridley Scott Easter eggs throughout the movie. Now that we're here on the home entertainment release, where can eagle-eyed fans look for said Ridley Scott Easter eggs?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of them. I am not prepared for this. There's Father Ridley is one of them. When they go to Avignon, when they go to the Catholic archives, he's obviously named after the man. We talked a lot about, like, I love aliens, she loves aliens, and I think there's something great about a character who is going back to face a demon. I mean, and literally and figuratively, and the idea that Irene has already gone to hell and that something's come back for her, and dealing with trauma and fighting trauma. I think that there was a lot of things in that movie that we really liked. It's like one of my favorite sequel horror movies. And so that was kind of a talking point. And, so it's not so much an Easter egg. There's more to it. I'm blanking on. There's more to, I think we had more than that, but that was the
one that sticks out.
Exactly. On the re-release junket, when we talk again, and then we release more like behind the scenes or something, I'll go through and I'll be better prepared.
Speaking of home entertainment releases, the one thing I love about them is you really can study a film. I used to love old DVD commentaries, listening to those, because it was almost like film school. For you, if you were to recommend like a DVD commentary for anybody that wants to get into filmmaking, what's something that you would recommend?
I love those as well. I mean, I don't know if he still does them, but I used to love like the P.T. Anderson
yes,
commentaries. Like, I mean, he was just a beast, and he just loved, he loved movies so much, and just the process of, still loves movies. He just the whole process of, because he would listen to audio commentaries as a kid, like on Laserdisc, and so you could really feel that love. I also shamelessly love the Armageddon audio commentary.
Oh my God, I was just listening to that like right before this. That little Ben Affleck story about the drillers and astronauts. It's great.
It is so good. It's so funny. And I mean, that movie is a blast. It's like, in my top 100 movies or top 50 movies. I mean, it's really like so much of a time, and it was so great, but it was also kind of like great because you hear the different personalities in there, and it's great to hear them talking.
Now, speaking of home entertainment releases, if you were to pair The Nun 2 in a double feature with any other film from your collection, I mean, I want to say the first Nun, because that goes together, but like, what would be your double feature with The Nun 2?
I do Bram Stoker's Dracula or Diabolique.
Great choice.
Because Diabolique is like, it's a really cool. It's like really. It wasn't like the original draft. The movie wasn't set at a boarding school. It was set in a small town, and I was like watching Diabolique because I love it, and I was like, hey, it's 1950s France, and I just thought, hey, this is great we could just put everything in a boarding school, and it'll be just like Diabolique. And there's even like nods to Diabolique. Like I mean, in a way, that's probably, to answer your question, that's the double feature. Even though I love Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I think that might be a more fun movie, I think Diabolique is probably is the best pairing, because I think you'll see a lot of Easter eggs and like connections between the two.
That's a fantastic choice for The Nun 2 that I didn't even think of. That's a fantastic choice. Now, you've made La Llorona, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and now The Nun 2. What's been your favorite part about working in this universe?
I love how each one, you get to kind of play with a different style. It's like you get to, even though they are part of the same universe and there's a certain language within it all. And I do love telling connected stories. I think that it's been fun to draw connections between my own films and then other films. But I also like being a fan of horror. I love how each one can have its own personality, and it's almost like a theme park, where you're going. It's funny saying that, like there's almost like so much like movies are not theme park rides, but I love theme park rides, and there's something kind of great about like when you you get to have these like unique experiences, and each one has its own kind of style and personality, and I love that.
Well, look, Michael, thank you so much for your time. I love the way you craft scares as well, man. It's the patience behind the scare that I absolutely love. Incredible job with The Nun 2. I'm so happy I got to revisit it. Now everyone else can on Home Entertainment Release. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you.